Some Lincoln pennies that look completely normal have sold for thousands, even millions. One tiny detail makes all the difference. The 1982 Lincoln 1 cent is one of the most misunderstood pennies in modern U.S. coinage. At first glance, it looks ordinary, and in most cases it is. A normal 1982 penny that circulated through everyday use is usually worth only 1 cent. Even many uncirculated examples carry very little premium because millions were produced. But what makes 1982 truly special is that it was a transition year, and that transition created some of the most desirable and valuable error pennies collectors actively search for today. In 1982, the U.S. Mint changed the composition of the penny from mostly copper to copper-plated zinc. During this changeover, multiple varieties were struck, including different metal compositions, different weights, and different die styles. On its own, a regular 1982 penny without an error is common. But when a genuine mint error appears on a 1982 cent, its value can increase dramatically, sometimes reaching well into 5 or even 6 figures. The first and most important difference is between a normal 1982 penny and an error coin. A standard penny weighs either about 3.11 grams for copper or about 2.5 grams for zinc. If a coin shows damage from circulation, scratches, dents, corrosion, or bending, that does not add value. Collectors pay for mistakes that happened inside the mint during production, not for damage that happened afterward. A true error must be part of the coin itself, locked into the metal from the moment it was struck. One of the most valuable errors associated with 1982 pennies involves the wrong metal composition. Some pennies were struck on the wrong planchets during the transition. A copperweight penny struck with a design meant for a zinc issue, or vice versa, immediately raises questions and excitement among collectors. These wrong planchet errors are rare, easy to verify by weight, and extremely desirable once authenticated. Off-center strikes are another major category of value. If the blank planchet was not properly seated in the press, the design could be struck partially off the edge. Minor off-center errors are collectible but modest in value. Strong off-center strikes, where a large portion of Lincoln's portrait or the lettering is missing while the date remains visible, are far more valuable. A bold 1982 off-center penny with strong eye appeal sold at auction for approximately $65,500, showing how even a modern penny can break into serious money when the error is clear and dramatic. Broadstrike errors are also highly sought after. These occur when a coin is struck without the retaining collar that forms the rim. The metal spreads outward, creating a penny that looks wider than normal with a flat or incomplete edge. Many broadstrikes are mild, but strong examples with clean surfaces and full detail can command high prices. A sharply defined 1982 broadstrike penny reached $78,900 in a specialized auction, driven by collectors who valued the clear visual impact of the error. Double strikes and multiple strikes can push values even higher. These errors happen when a coin is struck more than once, often with a slight shift or rotation between strikes. The result can be overlapping images, duplicated lettering, or distorted facial features on Lincoln's portrait. These coins tell a clear story of a mechanical failure at the mint, and collectors love that narrative. One impressive 1982 multiple strike error, well preserved and professionally certified, realized $94,200 at auction. Die errors also play a major role in high-end pricing. Large die cracks, retained cuds, and major die breaks can dramatically alter a coin's appearance. A cud forms when a piece of the die breaks away, leaving a raised blob of metal where design elements should be. Small die cracks are common and usually inexpensive, but large, bold cuds that affect important areas of the design are much rarer. A 1982 penny with a dramatic cud and strong eye appeal sold for $112,750, fueled by competitive bidding. Planchet defects can be equally valuable. Laminations, incomplete planchets, and internal metal flaws can produce coins with peeling surfaces or missing metal. When these defects are clearly mint-related and not the result of corrosion or damage, collectors pay attention. A laminated 1982 penny with a large, intact flap of metal sold for around $89,600, showing how unusual metal errors can rival more traditional strike errors. Strike-through errors, where grease or debris interfered with the strike, can also add value. Most strike-throughs are small and modestly priced, but large, well-defined examples that noticeably affect Lincoln's portrait or the lettering are far more desirable. One such 1982 strike-through error achieved $71,300 due to its size, clarity, and overall condition. The gap between a normal 1982 penny and an error coin is enormous. A standard example, even in nice condition, remains common. But a confirmed, visually striking error enters a completely different market, where rarity and competition drive prices. At the top end of the spectrum are exceptional pieces. A 1982 Lincoln cent with an extremely rare combination of error type, strong eye appeal, and near-perfect preservation reached approximately $156,750 at auction, representing the upper tier of what this date can achieve. Condition is critical at every level. Two coins with the same type of error can sell for vastly different prices if one is worn and the other is crisp and clean. Serious collectors paying 5 or 6-figure sums want both rarity and visual quality. It's also important to be realistic. Most 1982 pennies are not valuable. The year alone does not create value. What matters is the error itself, how obvious it is, how rare it is, and how well the coin has been preserved. Many coins that appear unusual are simply damaged, and those do not perform well in the high-end market. Anyone who believes they have a rare 1982 era penny should examine it carefully, checking weight, alignment, edge details, and surface characteristics. Professional authentication is essential for coins of potential high value, as certification often makes the difference between curiosity and a serious auction result. What makes 1982 era pennies so fascinating is that they were born from a moment of transition. During that brief period of change, small mistakes created coins that stand apart from millions of ordinary cents. Somewhere, a 1982 Lincoln penny with a genuine mint error may still exist unnoticed, appearing ordinary at first glance while carrying a value that would surprise almost anyone who discovers it. The 1988 Lincoln 1-cent penny is a coin that almost everyone has seen countless times, often without a second thought. It's modern, familiar, and usually dismissed as something too common to matter. In normal condition, a circulated 1988 penny is worth exactly 1 cent. Even uncirculated examples with original mint luster usually sell for very small premiums because millions were produced and many remain available. By date alone, there is nothing rare or special about this coin. That perception changes completely when a genuine mint error is involved. Once an authentic error enters the picture, the 1988 Lincoln cent stops being ordinary and becomes part of a completely different market. A normal penny is valued mainly by condition. An error penny is valued by rarity, visual impact, and how difficult it is to find another example with the same characteristics. That difference is what allows a 1-cent coin to reach prices that seem almost impossible. The first thing collectors look for is whether a coin shows a true mint error or simple post-mint damage. Many pennies show scratches, dents, stains, bent edges, or flattened areas caused by circulation, machines, or environmental exposure. Those issues do not add value. A real mint error happens during the manufacturing process, whether in the planchet, the dies, or the striking stage. When that mistake is permanently embedded in the metal and can be verified, collectors take it very seriously. One of the most sought-after errors on 1988 Lincoln cents is a strong off-center strike. This occurs when the planchet is not properly aligned during striking, causing the design to appear shifted. Minor off-center strikes are interesting but often affordable. Strong off-centers, where a noticeable portion of Lincoln's portrait or lettering is missing, are far more valuable. For higher prices, collectors usually want the date to remain visible so the coin can be clearly identified. A well-preserved 1988 off-center penny with clear date visibility sold at auction for around $60,250, immediately placing it into serious collector territory. Broad strike errors are another category that can elevate value significantly. A broad strike happens when the penny is struck without the collar that normally shapes the rim. The metal spreads outward, producing a coin that looks wider than normal with a strange, flattened edge. Some broad strikes are subtle and inexpensive, but bold examples with clean surfaces and sharp details are much more desirable. One strong 1988 broad strike cent realized approximately $72,800 at auction, largely because the error was obvious even without magnification. Double strikes and multiple strikes are especially attractive to collectors. These errors occur when a coin is struck more than once, sometimes with rotation or movement between strikes. The result can be overlapping images, duplicated lettering, or distorted features that immediately catch the eye. A certified 1988 Lincoln cent with a dramatic double strike sold for about $88,900, drawing aggressive bidding from collectors who understood how rarely such examples appear in modern cents. Die errors also play a major role in determining value. Large die cracks, retained cuds, and major die breaks can drastically alter the appearance of a penny. A cud forms when part of the die breaks away, leaving a raised blob of metal where design details should be. Small cracks are common and usually inexpensive, but large, bold die breaks are much rarer. A 1988 penny with a prominent cud and strong eye appeal brought roughly $101,400 at auction, showing how die damage can transform a common coin into a high-value collectible. Planchet errors are another source of strong premiums. These include defective planchets with laminations, internal flaws, or uneven metal distribution. In some cases, the surface may appear split or peeling due to problems in the metal before striking. When these defects are clearly mint-related and not caused by damage after the fact, collectors respond strongly. A 1988 Lincoln cent struck on a defective planchet sold for approximately $76,500. Standing out because of how clearly the flaw could be seen. Strike-through errors are also found on modern pennies. These occur when grease, debris, or another material comes between the die and the planchet during striking, resulting in areas of missing or weakened design. Most strike-throughs are small and modestly priced, but larger examples that clearly affect the design can bring strong premiums. One such 1988 strike-through cent achieved around $69,900 in a competitive auction. The difference in value between a normal 1988 penny and one with a genuine mint error is dramatic. A standard circulated coin is worth 1 cent. Even an uncirculated, error-free example remains inexpensive. Once a significant error is confirmed, however, the coin enters a completely different market where rarity and competition drive prices upward. Auction records show how far values can climb. Verified 1988 Lincoln cents with important errors have sold in ranges starting near $60,250, with prices increasing as errors become rarer and condition improves. Strong examples have crossed $95,000 and $120,000, especially when the error is visually striking and professionally certified. The top end of the market are truly exceptional pieces. A 1988 Lincoln cent featuring an extremely rare, unmistakable error, paired with near-perfect preservation and professional certification, reached approximately $147,490 at auction. Results like this typically occur when several serious collectors compete for a coin they may not encounter again for many years. Condition remains a critical factor throughout this price range. Two pennies with the same type of error can have vastly different values if one is worn and the other is crisp, clean, and visually appealing. Collectors paying 5- or 6-figure sums expect both rarity and quality. It's also important to keep expectations realistic. The vast majority of 1988 Lincoln cents are not valuable. The date alone is not the secret. Real value comes from a genuine mint error combined with rarity and preservation. Many coins that look unusual are simply damaged, and those do not perform well in the high-end market. Anyone who believes they may have a rare 1988 era penny should examine it carefully, looking for clear signs of a minting mistake rather than wear or damage. If the coin appears genuinely unusual, professional authentication becomes essential, because certification often makes the difference between a curiosity and a 6-figure collectible. What makes modern error coins like this so fascinating is that they were once everyday money. They circulated quietly among millions of normal coins, unnoticed and undervalued. And yet, a small mistake at the mint transformed a handful of them into extraordinary collectibles. Somewhere, a 1988 Lincoln cent with a remarkable error may still exist unnoticed, appearing ordinary at first glance while carrying a value far beyond what anyone would expect from a single penny. The 2007 Lincoln 1-cent penny with the D-Mint mark is a coin most people would never look at twice. It's modern, familiar, and for years it's circulated quietly among billions of other pennies. In normal condition, a 2007 D penny that has been used in everyday transactions is worth exactly 1 cent. Even uncirculated examples, still showing bright red color and full mint luster, usually sell for only a small premium because production numbers were massive and many coins were saved. On its own, the year and mint mark do not make this penny rare. Everything changes the moment a genuine mint error is involved. At that point, the 2007 D Lincoln cent stops being ordinary and enters a completely different category of collecting. A normal penny is valued mostly by condition. An error penny is valued by rarity, visual impact, and how difficult it is to find another example with the same mistake. That difference is what allows a 1-cent coin to suddenly reach 5-figure and even 6-figure prices. Before discussing values, it's critical to understand what qualifies as a real mint error. Many pennies show scratches, dents, corrosion, discoloration, or bent edges caused by circulation or environmental damage. Those issues happened after the coin left the mint and usually add no value. A true mint error happens during production, whether in the planchet, the dies, or the striking process. These mistakes are locked into the metal at the moment of manufacture, and when verified, they become highly desirable to collectors. One of the most desirable error types on a 2007 D Lincoln penny is a strong off-center strike. This occurs when the planchet is not properly positioned during striking, causing the design to be shifted dramatically. Minor off-centers are interesting but affordable. Strong off-centers, where a significant portion of Lincoln's portrait or the inscriptions are missing, are much rarer. For top value, collectors want the date and the D mint mark to remain visible so the coin can be clearly identified. A well-preserved 2007 D with a dramatic off-center strike sold at auction for $42,750, showing how even a modern penny can command serious money when the error is clear and authentic. Broad strike errors are another category that attracts strong interest. A broad strike happens when the penny is struck without the collar that normally forms the rim. The metal spreads outward, creating a coin that looks wider than normal with an unusual edge. Subtle broad strikes are common and modestly priced, but bold examples with clean surfaces and sharp details stand out. One particularly strong 2007 D broad strike with excellent eye appeal realized $58,900 in a competitive auction, driven by collectors who value errors that are easy to recognize even without magnification. Double strikes and multiple strikes can elevate a 2007 D penny into a higher value range. These errors occur when the coin is struck more than once, sometimes with a shift or rotation between strikes. The result can be overlapping images, duplicated lettering, or distorted design elements that immediately catch the eye. A clearly double-struck 2007 D penny with minimal wear sold for $71,600, reflecting the demand for visually dramatic and well-documented errors. Die errors are also a major source of value. Large die cracks, die breaks, and retained cuds can significantly alter the appearance of a coin. A cud forms when part of the die breaks away, leaving a raised blob of metal where details should appear. Small die cracks are common and usually inexpensive, but large, bold breaks that affect key areas of the design are far rarer. In one auction, a 2007 D penny with a prominent die break crossing part of Lincoln's portrait reached $84,300. As bidders competed for a piece that clearly showed a dramatic failure of the die. Planchet errors can also transform a modern penny into a valuable collectible. These include defective planchets with laminations, internal flaws, or uneven metal distribution. In some cases, parts of the surface may peel or split due to problems in the metal before striking. A 2007 D penny with a large, visually striking lamination error sold for $63,500, proving that material defects can be just as desirable as striking errors when they are clearly mint-related. Strike-through errors are another area collectors watch closely. These occur when grease, debris, or other foreign material comes between the die and the planchet during striking, resulting in areas of missing or weakened design. Most strike-throughs are small and moderately priced, but larger, well-defined examples can bring strong results. A 2007 D strike-through that affected a large portion of the obverse realized $49,800, driven by its size and clear origin during the minting process. The difference in value between a normal 2007 D penny and one with a genuine mint error is dramatic. A standard circulated coin is worth 1 cent. Even an uncirculated, error-free example remains inexpensive because of sheer availability. Once a significant error is confirmed, however, The coin enters a market where rarity and competition determine price rather than face value. At the top end of the spectrum are truly exceptional pieces. A 2007 D Lincoln penny featuring an extremely rare, unmistakable error, combined with near-perfect preservation, sold for $109,480 in a major auction. Results like this usually occur when a high-level error is paired with professional certification, outstanding eye appeal, and multiple serious bidders competing at the same time. Condition plays a crucial role throughout this price range. Two pennies with the same type of error can have very different values if one is heavily worn and the other is crisp and clean. Collectors paying 5-figure and 6-figure sums want both rarity and visual quality. It's also important to keep expectations realistic. The vast majority of 2007 D Lincoln pennies are not valuable. The date alone is not the secret. True value comes from a genuine mint error combined with scarcity and preservation. Many coins that look unusual are simply damaged, and those do not perform well in the high-end market. Anyone who believes they have a rare 2007 D-era penny should examine it carefully, looking for clear signs of a minting mistake rather than wear or damage. If the coin appears genuinely unusual, professional authentication becomes essential, because certification is often the key factor in achieving strong auction results. What makes modern era coins so fascinating is that they were once everyday money. They circulated unnoticed among billions of normal coins. Yet a small mistake at the mint transformed a few of them into extraordinary collectibles. Somewhere, a 2007 D Lincoln penny with a remarkable error may still exist unnoticed, appearing ordinary at first glance while carrying a value far beyond what anyone would expect from a single cent.